God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to make an adjustment in the agenda. I want to, before we do roll call, I'd like to have public participation. So, Mayor Sheets, I think you have a public statement.
I promised that I would have my appointment here by this evening, and I do. So I have done interviews throughout the last couple of weeks, and I've come up with the replacement. As you know, with the passing of Kent, we've lost a very good member, but I've searched and done my research, and I think I have a great person for that position. So Josh Hewitt is the new Utility Service Board member, and he will be my appointment then.
And you're going to do the swearing in now? Or have you already done that? Huh?
I've already sworn him in. He was sworn in earlier. So now you just need to tell him where to sit.
Well, you can sit here right now.
All right.
Or you can sit there, wherever you want. I left a packet for you. Did you get that?
Got it. Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome, Josh.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, now let's do roll call.
Rick Gunyon.
Present.
Krista Stillwell.
Present.
Mike Reeder.
Present.
Josh Hewitt.
Present.
Mike Kelly.
Present, all present. Approval of the minutes, transfers, and payroll. Any corrections or additions to these things?
Is this just the minutes?
Just the minutes, yes.
Okay.
I put that on the wrong thing. Sorry.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
And I'll second that.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Rick Gunyon.
Aye.
Josh Hewitt.
Abstain.
Krista Stillwell.
Aye.
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. Safety minutes, who's got that today?
We did plan on when we did have our department head meeting.
Okay.
Sorry about
Reports of officers and staff. Todd.
Welcome, Josh.
Thanks.
First thing, Andrew Gordon's here as well, and he has the agreement that for the Armstrong Street project between us and Watson Excavating. And I have that. What have we got here? 3 copies, Andrew? If you guys would, I know you haven't seen a copy of this, but he's been through it. Alicia's been through it and gave it her blessing late last week. And then if we get that approved, we also have the contract for the motion to proceed with that as well on there. So I don't know if you have any questions for Andrew on this that he can answer.
Is that the one that we accepted their bid at the last meeting?
2 meetings ago.
2
I believe.
meetings ago?
Yes.
Okay, the
What's
price
it?
is still the same?
It's everything that we
Agreed to?
Agreed
Just
to.
now we formally sign it? Okay.
there were 2 parts to this, right?
Yes, the agreement and then the notice to proceed.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agreement?
I'd like to make a motion on behalf of the board to approve the agreement just specified.
Second?
Second, Mike Reeder. Roll call.
Josh Hewitt.
Aye.
Krista Stillwell.
Aye.
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Rick Gunyon.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. Okay. Next was the
Notice to proceed.
notice to proceed. Motion.
I'll make a motion that we sign the notice to proceed.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Josh Hewitt.
Aye.
Rick Gunyon.
Aye.
Krista Stillwell.
Aye.
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. We're going to take time to sign this so he can get out of here. There's only one signature on this, right?
Yes, there's only one signature. You're more than welcome to all the time if you want to. There's only 2 signatures on it.
I guess, does that need to be me or can that be another board member?
Can everybody sign it, Mike?
We,
Fair enough.
we're gonna just all sign it on one line, is that okay, or?
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah,
I think if it's just as easy just to have somebody else pass it around and that's the point.
okay.
Three signatures, and that one back might need two more on it. Do you know when they're gonna get started on that?
We're optimistic that we can schedule a pre-construction meeting this week, is what my hopes are. We can get that scheduled, we can get the contractor scheduled, and anticipating that they're probably gonna want to start within the next month. The contract is 90 days for substantial completion and 105 for final completion, so we should be finished before, in the fall.
Now, your kickoff meeting, is that gonna be a video or in person or
It'll be an in-person meeting.
at the waterworks?
Probably, yes, I would think so.
Could you please tie me into that one,
Yeah, absolutely.
please?
If anybody wants to be included, that's fine, I can send an invitation.
Please, sir?
The very first one. The very first one that came to my page.
He only signed the first page, he didn't sign the other two.
Oh, I heard what you said, but it went straight through. It just,
Okay, okay.
Can you take notes and?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Next thing I have is a revision to the water salary resolution. And the one change that was made was on lead and copper. That was at $31.05 an hour. We had a person get his DSL distribution system large license. And when we do that, we give them, whenever they get a license, $1 an hour increase. So that's why that was on here. And because we couldn't do it because we were at the 3105, so they wouldn't let us get it through payroll. So we need to revise the wage resolution on that one.
I move that we revise the wage resolution tied to the lead and copper roll specifically. Is that,
Yeah, it's resolution 2025-12-02-10, revision 1.
do I need to say
Second?
that again?
Second.
Josh? Any other comments, questions?
I have a question. Todd, is that by agreement or by convention, or do we have a board policy that is the case, that each license a person gets adds $1 an hour to their salary or wage?
I know it's in the union agreement, Rick, but I do not know if it is in the handbook, the employee handbook for sure, because I think it is for the wastewater. It's spelled out in there, isn't it? For
Well, that's
somewhere
exactly,
somewhere there's an agreement where it's at, Rick. I don't know, but I
that's
do know
exactly
it's in the
my
union
point.
contract.
So as we reconcile the 3 handbooks, or the 2 handbooks and the union agreement, I'd like to see that be part of
Okay.
that
Yeah,
reconciliation.
I
So
do.
my
I do
point-
know it's in the union agreement, but we
Okay.
really need to look at it for the non-union
My
union
belief
departments
is
as
we
well.
should treat all of our employees the same, whether
Right.
they're members of the union or not. That's why I'm going there.
Right,
Okay.
I understand.
Thank you.
And I can go ahead and say with confidence, I don't remember us going over and seeing wage detail in that explicit amount of information in the
Okay.
handbook as we're revising it. So when we get to that part of it, we'll want to add in a section related to that.
Yeah, and for the only one that it will really cover is wastewater at that point in time.
Yep.
So, okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and ready to vote.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
The next thing I have is from Burgess and Nyepel. We had an agreement that we put in place last year for the 200 lift station and the force main going to the plant. And they were working on that, and they're still working on that, but we pulled them off a lot of that work right now to get the Jefferson situation taken care of. And they've been keeping track of their time and stuff because it was 2 different projects. And this is the agreement for professional services for the Jefferson project is what it is. And because we were getting so much time wrapped up, it was starting to get confusing of who was going where and what. So that's what you see on this agreement here. So your pleasure, I'd like to get this approved and signed, and we're off and going, and we're with this as well. I'll go ahead and say it on this part of it. There's a public-private agreement that Alicia has drawn up. She got it to me. I got it to Brent in Brenton's hands. They're going back through it because there was some questions on whether we was going to have to get any easements or land acquisitions out that way. So they're going to refine it and get it back to me so it'll be ready at the next meeting it's a PPA and then a resolution for the board to accept it as well. We'll have both of those.
Is this a task order, Todd, like we normally have with Westlers, or is this just an agreement?
It's a contract, Mike,
It's
for
a contract?
yeah, for professional services.
Okay.
For the design and everything, yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract from Burgess and Nyepel.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
I'm getting my steps in. Yeah, I'm getting my steps in.
You have to bring us new pins next week.
Then on some other notes, the billing office parking lot will be sealed, weather permitting, Thursday because we're closed on Thursday for Juneteenth, and have it all arranged. All the departments, Phil doesn't have any of the big tall cones or bones. They're bringing some of those over. The street department's bringing us some, and then we'll have everybody there first thing Friday morning to take everything down.
One of those.
So that part's being taken care of, like I said, weather permitting, and Wednesday doesn't sound real good, but maybe it'll dry overnight and get done.
Crenshaw doing that?
Yes, yes. And then, Rick, you mentioned last week about the painting on the post, and I had mentioned sleeves potentially. When I talked to Karen about that the next day, she has already purchased the supplies and everything, and they're there. They, with the weather going back and forth, have been afraid to get out there and get them painted and washed off, but we will be getting to it because we do have the supplies ready to go.
So the remedy will be painting the posts, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And scraping them.
No, I understand.
And, you know,
Okay.
she has everything ready to go, and we're just
That's-
been trying to get it worked out. And then we'll see how long it lasts, and maybe the next time when it's ready, we'll just get the covers.
Well, to me, the important thing is it's a very visible location to the public, so making it look professional and maintained well, I think that's the end point I was trying to get to, so that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, I was caught off guard when she already had all that stuff. So
She's looking ahead. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Thank you.
on another thing too, I passed out the vehicle inventories of where we're at. I know that we need to make some adjustments. What we've been doing is putting them into our Silversmith software that we have with the GPS and all that, putting in the year, the mileage, taking pictures. We can actually put service records and everything in there, and not to throw anybody on the bus, so don't take this wrong, guys. It was just the information was pulled from different cells, and we'll clean it up and get everything in there that we're looking for. But most of the work has been done, just taking the time to take pictures and do this and get stuff in there, so we can get cleaner reports. It's just we got to come up with the exact format, or we could bring in a computer or a laptop and go through them all at one time.
I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like the one for electric, I believe it is. It's all that's there, it just,
And it's in there too. We
Yeah.
just need to pull it differently, is what we're doing. But
and
the
it'd be
information
nice
is in
if
Silver.
everybody's on the same
Yeah.
format, same
Right.
report.
I agree, and I brought this up just for reference, having seen, I guess it was Lebanon and Anderson and Whitestown doing a vehicle maintenance record and reschedule for purchase and so forth. And it made sense to me. So this is a big improvement, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and now service records, instead of just keeping them on the paper, if one goes in for an oil change, it can just be put into Silversmith
Yeah.
and look at it that way.
Yeah.
So we're utilizing the tools we have, but we just got to refine on the way that we printed it out on paper.
Fantastic.
But everything's there. Okay. And I mentioned at the last meeting that I was working with people on the 69 line coming across town, Green Street, Barner Street, and everything. And Clay Miller is one of the people I've been working with. He's been on vacation to figure out what we have to do for a sale, if it is an asset, if it's all depreciated out, all that type of stuff. And he still has not given me all the information I need. I have, and one of the things is if we have to get an appraisal, and I'm waiting for Scott Bowles from Entrust, it was Spectrum when he had it, to give me a price on what the appraisal would be just to have it done. But he had a unfortunate situation with a family member, but I heard from him today. So I have the presentation from IMPA right here, and I wanted your opinion. If you guys want me to send this to you digitally, you can look through it and have any questions that I can answer, because I will be gone the first meeting in July. I'll be on vacation, but it'll give a month if you guys want to look at this, or and go through the slides, come up with any questions prior to, and then we can have more of a detailed discussion at what would be July 21st? Yeah, July 21st meeting. Or do you want me to just come back with everything all at once and bombard everybody?
I think everyone would like probably to have it to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Electronic
I like
copy.
that approach.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I'll
would
get you
I-
that, and then,
I would ask,
uh-huh.
so, pardon me for being particular here, but over the past year, I believe we referred to that as the Green Street transmission line, the Duke line, the
Yeah, I forgot
JDS
to put the
line,
Duke in there.
and the 69 line.
Well, how
I don't
about now
mind
you're
that.
also gonna throw PSI in there because that's actually who the lease agreement was,
Let me write
was
that down.
with Rick.
Could we just settle on a name, not 5 names? I find it confusing.
I would just call it the 69 line. How about that? 69 kV line.
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I was going through this when I printed it off, when I first opened up the file and looked at it, I didn't even catch that. Then I saw PSI, but I also had a copy of the agreement from 1982, something like that, and it's actually with PSI. So, yeah, we threw another name in there as well.
Well, I think, on things like this, a lot of times, the name gets attached based on the seat you're sitting in at the time, so everybody has their own name for it, but let's refer to it to the 69 line. That will work for me. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do that. And that's really what I have for everybody tonight. Thank you for getting the agreements and everything signed. And we're going to keep plowing forward. All right.
Any other questions for Todd? Any questions for any of the supervisors that are here?
I do have a related question
Yeah.
on the agenda, Mike. In the past, one of our agenda items has been department reports. Is it your intention that they report during Todd or after Todd's report, or do they give any report or not, or what are we doing now?
Well, I used what I called my second meeting agenda template, which
Okay.
didn't have them all listed, but
Okay.
they chose to come tonight anyway. It's just to be here.
So what's your intention? Will
My
they be giving
intention would
department
be
reports or
that-
not?
They would be listed on the first meeting agenda, just like they've always been.
Okay.
But welcome to come at any time.
When you say first meeting agenda, do you mean the first meeting agenda of each month?
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It has them all listed in there.
That clarifies it for me. Thank you.
I know you said something about the handbook, but go ahead. Wait a minute. We got to go to approval of claims, transfers, and payroll. I have an additional claim, so that it's for the Anthem Blue Cross. What was the total amount was $44,906 and something. Is that correct?
I didn't look at the details, but it's the medical claims for June 4th through June 11th, and then for $38,651.97, and June dental and vision for $62,54.48, for a total of $44,906.45. And I got that paperwork today with the claims docket, so rather than keep it all back and put it on the first meeting of next month, I just added it today so I could process it and get rid of it.
And then there's another one, EMPA, $2,199,697. If I read that correct.
Yep. IMPA, $2,199,697.73. And that would be for what, April power? Yes.
Yes.
April power. And again, got this one today.
When did I get something?
May 19th. Okay.
A motion to approve the claims with the additional claims.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Roll call when you get ready, Andrew.
Rick Gunyon,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. We've talked about the Green Street transmission line, the vehicle list, employee handbook.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
69 kV.
69 kb.
Let's update that for the future agenda.
It's still an unfinished. So employee handbook, you're still working on it?
Yes, it is a project. So, yes, it is getting pieced together as we speak.
And we do have, Alicia is not here today. I think she has a fairly good reason.
Fairly good reason.
And then the $5,000 supplement to the lagoons budget, I think we need to have a report on where that could come from for the next meeting, so that if we're going to be able to transfer that, where it's going to come from and how we're going to do that.
We had talked about, I thought we had discussed getting everything through June and then looking at it in
Yeah.
the second week, or the second meeting of July.
Yeah.
Is what
When you come back.
Yeah,
That's my recollection.
okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
So would we put the mid-year financial review on the unfinished business list
Yep.
then for July? Okay.
And
Second meeting in July.
if I remember correctly, was it going to be that we were going to have budget information as of the first part of July in hand before we did the review on the 21st? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think,
My recollection was we were waiting for June to be done.
Yep.
yeah.
I am confident that I can have it for the second meeting, but we
Yes.
pushed it to the first meeting of August.
Thank you.
Correct.
Yes. I could have gone back in my notes, but my notes are a little jumbled, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, I'm trying to find the minute.
Yeah,
Pull
no,
my
that
notes
makes
out.
sense.
That's what it was.
What you said, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, first August meeting.
Yep.
Again, I can more than likely have it ready for the second meeting, but
Okay, the other item we have is a new business. It's preliminary discussion. I know this is, Rick, one of the things that you were concerned or talked about. Kind of give us all a sense of what you're looking for and what we may have to do.
Okay, so first of all, before we move on number 9, unfinished business, my notes indicate there's one other small item to put on that list. It's the prior discussion by email, discussion of using OneDrive or SharePoint or you name it, platform for USB documents, FMU documents, archiving, retrieval, etc. I think that's still an open item if I'm not mistaken.
I've added it.
So to your question, as a background, I had talked with Todd on a number of topics, and must have been very early May, and I sent out an email to the board members and to Todd on May the 2nd, and I just had informed the board that I had recommended to Todd that I'm reading this because I can't find better words, that he reevaluate how he is estimating and allocating project costs. That was a request to him I made. And I said this recommendation was based on the standard practices associated with fixed cost versus variable cost. Those are the two technical terms, as applied to general business, including manufacturing and utility operations. And I attached 2 or 3 attachments to that email on May 2nd. So I think it's as simple as when Todd has the opportunity to follow through with that recommendation, he can come back to the board and say, okay, I've looked at this. This is my take on it. Here's what I am doing or will be doing in the future, and here's why. We can compare that to the standard practices across various industries and say, well, that's good. We're on board, or we have further questions or whatever. And that was the sole intent there, just to kind of get a grounding in what standard industry practice is.
Can you have an example of a kind of project that you would think that would have to have that kind of
Virtually any of our projects, maybe Todd's in a better position to explain it, but when you look at project costs, the cost for the project, whether it be maintenance or construction, can be considered either coming out of the bucket of fixed cost or variable cost. An example of a fixed cost is salaries and wages. Whether our folks are busy on projects, or they're washing trucks in the bay, or they're home because of a COVID outbreak, we pay our salaries and wages the same every week. That's fixed cost. That doesn't vary according to projects. Variable cost examples would be fuel and oil for the vehicles, wear and tear on tires and replaceable maintenance items on trucks and other vehicles, um, equipment that's used during construction, materials, overtime labor, things like that. Those costs go up the more projects you do, and those variable costs are associated with the project itself versus the fixed cost. So when you look at our cost buildup of projects, it probably ought to, in my opinion, it ought to reflect that standard practice of fixed versus variable. And
I
that's
guess
all I'm
what
asking.
I don't, I can't comprehend is every day these guys do a project, basically. I
Yes.
mean, if Phil has to go out and replace 4 poles because they're been identified as being time to replace them, that's a project. Are you talking about something like that, or are you talking about a special project like we need to, like the Washington or the Armstrong Street under the bridge project? That was a project. I consider that a project, but I don't consider a project what they go and do every day.
Well, I think it's up to Todd. I mentioned a couple examples, like the utility reconstruction on the north side of the square and the utility extensions.
I agree, those were projects.
So what I wasn't trying to answer the question. I was trying to ask the question. Todd, tell us how you do this.
Okay, well, first one, we're going to go with the alley up on the north part of the square. When we first discussed this and looked at it, there was a lot of time just from the design standpoint, what we could do, what we couldn't do, and then also get the tenants or the landlords on board with it as well. And right now, that is one of them that we are working on. We had some final costs that just came in for where we tore the daylights out of stuff in the alley and everything, and we had to get it back. So once those costs are in, and they should be here, we should be able to have everything on that one together. But and then Chase gave me some examples the other day for some work that we done that the customer was charged for, like the fairgrounds, for a new tap and a fire hydrant, and then the same thing out at Good to Go at 65. So we have those ready. But I just wanted to bring, from the water standpoint and then from the electric all at one time. But anyway, they design it out, they put cost to it. And with that, Rick, there's the labor costs are in there. We call it transportation because each different truck, according to FEMA standards, has a different rate that you can charge for that covers your variable costs that you were talking about with fuel, tires, oil, things like that. Those are figured in there. We do have a markup in material when we're doing projects like this, and we also have an administrative fee that is also tacked on there.
So that's a good overview. So and again, from one board member, my request was to ask that you look at that and come back to the board and give us an update on what you want to do in the future. If you might say, we don't want to change a thing. You might say, looking at this and looking at standard practices, we're going to make some adjustments in future projects. Mike's question is quite valid.
Yeah.
What constitutes a project? I think from an industry standpoint, it might be maintenance repair, it might be upgrades, it might be new construction. It could be all those things, right? Those all could be projects. But it's not like every day you send the crew out from the office and you're writing up project estimates before that's
Oh,
not
no, we can't do that. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's the big projects, and
Yes.
it's Meadowbrook. It is.
Exactly.
It's the thing above or up at Arnie's because, like I said, the landlords helped out with that, or property owners, whatever you want to call them, helped out with that. The RDC helped out with that. So we had to have our numbers, and right now with what we're looking at, because Phil and I took a quick look at it last week. They hit that one just about right on the nose on a
So-
project that
so
big.
that's good. So,
Yeah.
so my belief, and correct me if I'm wrong, I am not, I don't have a full understanding of how you do that,
Okay.
and I'm gonna guess that the other four board members don't have an understanding of how you do that. We're held responsible for management oversight of FMU collectively as a board.
Right.
And I just think it would be good for us to understand more about what you do. And if we have any input, we can provide that feedback at that time.
Right.
It's no more difficult than that.
No, and you know, the one thing that the material costs always are changing, especially with transformer stuff like that. You cannot have a fixed cost anymore on some of this material. So whenever we get something like a primary extension, anything like that, we have to look at that very closely. The labor rates are set for the year. It's adjusted in their spreadsheet at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year for the next year if there's nothing going on. And we'll check FEMA standards, see if those are changing, and they really haven't changed in the last few years. But it's a pretty good system that is in there. But we'll get the details. We can come in and we can bring the laptop and just go through one of them on what we do. But yeah, that's fine.
Maybe we might want to have a work session after a formal meeting. That's up to the chairman. But again, I'd like to understand more about that. And I don't have a big opinion one way or the other, because I would say first and foremost, I don't understand how you're doing it now. So
It took me a while to get it,
is
but
it right, wrong, or indifferent? I don't know.
yeah.
So-
But from the ones that we have looked at and other things, and you know, and a good test was when we had the tornado a couple of years ago, and we had to turn all that information over to FEMA, and they came back with zero problems on any of our rates and you know what the polls were, anything like that. So we had a pretty good test there, but be more than happy to explain and go through it.
Okay.
Not a problem.
I think what I would be interested to see, Todd, is for me, it all comes down to outliers, right? So if we're able to, from our very detailed budget standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
if you see that there's going to be an outlier of an over budget amount in a certain area, right? As long as we have a handle on being able to explain that, I don't know that we need to overcomplicate your process on a daily basis, because obviously I want to be able to trust that you are confident in the costs that you are assessing to the individuals who are receiving those cost estimates and those project costs, and then just be able to explain the outliers. That's where I land as board member. I can't speak for everyone else, but my biggest thing is if there's going to be over budget line items, if we have a story to tell and we can explain those things, and I can trust that you know the story to tell, then at the end of the day, I'm confident and satisfied with
Okay.
that amount of information.
Yeah, what was it, 5 years ago when we got hit hard on transformers,
Yeah.
and we started making some quick adjustments on things like that. So, and they said they're good at what they're doing and keep an eye on material cost and all that type of stuff. And we don't carry a huge inventory on a lot of things, but we have plenty for when we have certain situations. But yeah, it's really not a problem to get all that at all.
Could we potentially just add that as a part of our August financial review conversation? So obviously we knew we had
However
big
you guys
storms in
want.
March, right? And you provided additional cost perspectives on that. I would say if we can go ahead and look ahead, maybe if the two of you want to discuss, if there's budget line items that are going to be way up here, let's just be able to tell the story and talk about that. That's what's going to matter to me. Instead of, for me, I don't need to get down to the minute details, because obviously I can't possibly learn and hold on to all of that. But
It's tough.
and it's not my everyday, right? But I would appreciate, obviously, just being able to tell the story.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you guys want, we'll do it whenever. That's fine. Except for July 7th.
Well, right. I'm gonna be on vacation. More just, I think, if we can put it into our review timeframes, I think that's when it makes the most sense.
Okay.
So is that the decision of the board that their minutes will reflect, we're going to have that timeline and we'll
Yeah.
fit it into the financial review?
It seems to be that would be a good time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there will be on some materials from the sewer maintenance standpoint with paving list. There's some that we went over on, but without the paving list, it wouldn't have happened. So it's really a good thing that they're paving some of the streets that they are, because we had some bad stuff underneath there, didn't we, PJ? And with catch basins and stuff like that, or manholes, we have gone over, but it can be explained it's for a good reason, so that we don't have to go back in 6 months and completely tear up brand new roads and things like that. So there'll be plenty to talk about that night.
Respect that.
Yeah. Okay. Just giving you a heads up on
Okay.
that one.
Anything from anybody else on the board for the good of the board? Questions, comments, whatever?
Point of clarification,
What's that?
the $5,000 supplement for lagoons, we're moving that to August 1st, correct? Rather than the second meeting of July, is that
Right.
correct?
Let's be a little flexible on that. Since I'm the one that brought that topic up several times ago, meetings ago, why don't we get past the mid-year financial review, digest, where are we?
Okay.
Now, is it reasonable that we approve that $5,000 augmented funding for this year, or is it not reasonable?
Sure.
It could be a
Post-review
It could
at
be
some
a-
point.
based on the facts and the data. And maybe someone's gonna say, well, I can't support $5,000, I can support half of that. We'll meet you halfway.
Gotcha.
Whatever's reasonable, I'm happy to entertain that.
It looks like August will be possible though.
I'll just put post-mid-year review.
Josh, anything? Welcome aboard, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to take a couple minutes real quick just to say thank you to the mayor for having confidence in me and allowing me to be the newest appointment on the Utility Service Board. Certainly Kent left some big shoes to fill, and I don't have any delusions that I'll ever be able to replicate what he did. But I'll bring my own style to it, and I look forward to working with everyone on the board and all the department heads. And that's, I'll be quiet.
Mike, anything tonight? Krista?
No, sir.
Rick?
No, I like the changes to the agenda, so I appreciate those changes for the better.
I need an updated one too, you know.
Yes, I have written down some additional updates. So
Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All those in
Second.
favor?